This is A-Game. Fast acting, long lasting, with no side effects.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your host, femininity coach, and author of The Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So what we talking about today is Lauren London going viral because of her interview with Angie Martinez recently. Lauren London comes out in, I think, probably one of her most forward interviews since the death of Nipsey Hussle. Since everyone knows that they were basically husband and wife, even though they weren't legally married or whatever. They had children together, they had a family together, and they regarded each other as husband and wife. So she comes out to discuss how she's been faring, basically, since his death, how that has affected her on a personal level, on a very spiritual level. And if you watch that interview, it was actually a really well done interview. I thought it was very classy. I thought that Lauren was being very vulnerable. I thought she was being very honest and open. A lot of the things that she said, almost everything that she said in relation to what you go through as a widow rang true to me personally. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show about a 3-minute clip of Lauren answering the question about love after Nipsey, which I thought was a very thought-provoking part of the interview. I thought various parts of it were very thought-provoking, but this one I think is the one that people have been talking about for the most part. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, and then we're going to come back and we're going to really talk about what she's really going through. Okay, so let me share my screen really quickly. Just before we do this, this is just a quick disclaimer. This is not my content. Obviously, this is shared content. Angie Martinez is in real life podcast. There is no copyright infringement meant here, just simply commenting on content. So here we go.
So you don't like the question, but throw it away.
What?
But where are you with love?
Oh, I this doesn't bother me because here's the thing. I have another perspective on relationships, and you don't want to have that conversation with me.
Okay.
I think a lot of them are ego-driven and they're not pure.
I believe that too.
So why would I take myself in this vulnerable state into my ego and I'm trying to get out of it? I'm in death of the ego space. Why do I need another wife? Does that make my life complete? I'll never get married. Does that mean I'm not on purpose?
I need you to explain.
I'm gonna get a lot of slack for this one because I have a whole thing about it.
No, I need to know.
Okay.
That's not a small thing to drop. Like,
okay.
Because relationships are hard as fuck.
Absolutely.
Right? And so
mine was.
It was
very hard. Hell yeah.
Because we make it like a fantasy in our heads. Like
no.
You guys had the perfect relationship. You were on the horse.
Listen,
we saw you on the horse.
We had pure love. We had pure love, but that does not mean that we were not human and our egos did not get attached in aspects of our relationship. But we definitely had pure love.
But you had enough intention to probably like dissect
always,
or break down.
Always.
Okay.
Good intention.
But break that down for people.
Yeah.
About relationships and ego, and because some people probably don't even think about that.
No, and I didn't think about it until I wasn't in relationship anymore because of the death, right? A lot of times, not all the time, we are in such of in our ego that we are in possession of another person. We're not experiencing them. We're not totally loving them and letting them be free. We think we're supposed to be together forever. And that's not a spiritual relationship. Spiritual relationship is without the ego. It is we are together. I bring you up, inspire you, you inspire me. Now, if there ever comes a point where I'm not inspired anymore and that now I'm in my ego, now I feel I need to possess you. Now I feel the need to control you and you're mine, I'm in my ego. And that's not love. There's love in there, but now I'm operating more in my ego and not in my pure love. And I can say this because I operated from these spaces before.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You mine.
Yeah.
And can't nobody, you know what I mean? But that.
Okay. Let me come back to you. Stop sharing so I can come back to you. Okay. So I thought this was really, really interesting. And I thought that that whole entire interview was very powerful that Lauren gave. Some people, if you've gone through this, if you have ever been a widow, I don't know exactly how it is for widowers, but if you've ever been a widow, you understand exactly what she is saying. If you have been a widow, see, the thing that's going on with Lauren is that she's not only a widow, she's an alpha widow. And some people may not understand what that is. The widow of an alpha, a woman who had an alpha come into her life and then either through death or some other way of losing him, she loses him. And that type of widowing is one that is not easily overcome. In this particular instance, we understand that the reason why Lauren has not, come out and you've seen her on TMZ with her new boo and all this other kind of stuff is because she can't do that. See, she can't do that. And the reason she can't do that is because Nipsey was an alpha and he was her alpha. When a man comes into a lioness's life, and I think it might be safe to say that Lauren is a lioness because of the way in which she carried it and then the way in which she's reacting now is telltale to me, because several things go on. When you are an alpha widow, the first thing about it is that when you are with that man, that man has elevated you. And in truth, he saves you in every way that a person can be saved. He uplifts you, not just monetarily, not just materially, but he does so spiritually. He lifts and supports your internal values. He helps you focus as a woman. You are able as a woman to fulfill your purpose as a woman with him. As such, what we do as lionesses is we absorb that man. Do you understand me? We absorb him. We absorb his vision. We absorb his mission. We start talking like him. We take on his mannerisms. We start walking like him. We use his vocabulary. We become almost a literal reflection and mirror of him. We become him. When you're with that kind of man, the two do become one. We merge, and it's a spiritual merging. It is being a lioness, taking on a man's mission, submitting to that. That isn't something that is frivolous. That's not something that happens just by chance or for any, and it doesn't happen for any old little bitty reason. We really absorb that man. It is this absorption of him that makes it nearly impossible to move on to another man after he's gone. This is why it's been 3 years. And I have not seen no article with Lauren talking about her new husband or her new boo or da-da-da-da-da. It's been 4 for me. Because there is a literal transformation that happens to you as a widow. Like, you transform completely. And because you're submitting to that man and getting under his system, order, and structure, and receiving his 4 Ps in the way that you're supposed to be, is such a spiritual action. It is also a spiritual change when he's gone, because these are the things that Lauren's talking about. That man's 4 Ps. And when I talk about, let me just say this as well. When I talk about 4 Ps and SOS and the 10 life value system, I know we have the terminology to describe what we're saying, but what we're describing is the natural order, the natural process. Women want this stuff from men. They want these things. We need, not want, we need these things from men. And when you happen to run across an alpha and he sets his sight on you, and then he accepts you, and then he chooses you, that catapults you as a woman to another level of your life. A level of your life that you could not have achieved on your own. And for a lioness, once we get that man, there's nothing less of a repayment for him than our life, which is where the absorption of him comes in at. That's where it comes from. That's where it comes from. And so one of the most difficult transformations is taking the fact that this man was giving you his provision, his problem solving, his protection, his procreation in such a unique and focused way. There was nothing haphazard about it. When he's gone, you have to take those 4 Ps and transfer the responsibility of them back to yourself. The issue is that, you know, as a lioness, you can't do it like he did it. One of the balancing acts that you go through is trying to uphold his SOS that he gave you, but knowing in the back of your mind that that's gonna fall, because you can't maintain that without him. You can try, but eventually that's gonna fall, because the nature of women is chaotic. And that is, in this case, I'm not talking about something bad. I'm talking about just what the nature of it really is, right? So we know that that's gonna fall, but the balancing act is which part of it to unlearn and which part to keep. Because if we ever enter back into a spiritual space where we can be chosen again by another man, we're going to have to offload the original alpha's SOS in order to take on another one. Now, the problem with alpha widows is that it's difficult for them to find other men, not because they're bad women, But because the only men that don't mind coming after her after she been with an alpha is a non-alpha. And when I say that, I don't even mean like some low down guy. I mean, he's just not that kind of guy. But he, you know what I'm saying? He's willing, perfectly willing to give her the 4 P's and all of that type of stuff. But his SOS, his focus, his vision, his purpose, his mission is not superior to the one she just lost. So it becomes difficult for us to accept another man, because this is why alphas avoid alpha widows, other alphas, because they don't want to come after another one anyway. And he would have to be superior to the one she lost. And it really not a whole lot of ways for him to know that. Basically, her acceptance of him will tell her that. Will tell him that. Because one of the things about it, and there's so many different aspects to this, is we can't go down after we've been elevated. That is the treasure of an alpha, but that's also the tragedy of him. Right? Because can't too many men come after him, especially for the woman that he leaves behind, because he's imprinted her. And she can't take a lesser mission. She can't take a man that doesn't have order. She can't take a man that doesn't have a system. She can't take that man. Like, she can't go down to that man. Because it's like, she gonna be trying, like an alpha widow, like a lioness can't go to a hyena male. She can't. It is impossible for her to do that. It is impossible, because that hyena male will not get that same woman that the alpha got. He not gonna get it. He gonna get a completely different experience from this woman, one that he's not going to like. But I don't want to get so far into that. I want to stick to the spiritual part of this, because this is what Lauren was really talking about. Lauren was really talking about that spiritual component, why she is not with another man. It's not so easy. Especially you love that man. It's not so easy to deal with the uncovering. This is why she turned to God, because it's a chasm. It's not even a void. It's a chasm left by that man. When that man leaves out of your life, there's a hole so big, you don't know what's going to fill it. And the only thing that can fill it is God. But it's slow and painstaking. It's a painstaking process. And when I say that, I mean every syllable of that. It's a painstaking, fundamental change in who you are. So some people may judge it, oh, she doing too much, she grieving, blah, blah, blah. You ain't grieving that long. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Yeah, I'm here to attest. Ashhadu. You do. I bear witness. Yeah, you do. It ain't even so much an active grief as it is the transformation that took place. And you have to reprioritize your entire life, your entire perspective on life. Everything changes. When you sit at the front row of that funeral, everything changes. When you look at your man in that box, everything changed. That's what happened to you. That's what she's describing. Your world turned to ashes. When that alpha is gone, it's ashes. How do you make anything out of ashes? That we don't even really conceive how we're gonna go on. We don't understand. We don't know that's the devastation of it all. I woke up many a morning not wanting to wake up, not knowing how I'm going to get through a day. Don't know how I'm gonna do it. Didn't know whether or not I could ever genuinely smile again. What was happiness? What was joy? What would love be? Again, I can't even love. You know? What is that? How can I get that again? Will I ever get it again? And you, for a minute, you be good on it. But then eventually what happens is you need the covering again, because lionesses can't even operate without proper covering. We can't operate without the being in service to our purpose as a woman, which our purpose as women is men. And a lioness don't know what to do if we don't have that purpose. They call that being a pick-me. I call it being a lioness. So shout out to Lauren. Many prayers to her. I understand exactly what she's going through. And I just wanted to come here and talk about that spiritual aspect that she was talking about, because it really resonated, and I see why it went viral. Before we sign off, I want to draw everybody's attention to the petition that we have against Black Lives Matter as an organization. The link to it and the explanation for it is in the description box. All I got to do is click the link, go ahead and sign it, share it, and also contribute to the petition if you can. Also, sound off in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.